Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Just trying to keep things flowing here. So,
I had my computer all set up and then it wouldn't recognize my camera. So I'm
oh,
doing this on my phone. I hope it's
oh,
okay.
that's 100% fine. We've had several different issues. My interface decided it wanted to randomly shut off in the middle of an interview, and I was like,
Oh
the
no.
only reason I knew was because a big alert came across my computer saying, "Hey, your audio device is shut off," and I'm like, "Wait, what? What? What?" Yeah.
Oh
So,
no.
yeah, it
Oh my
was it was
gosh.
bad, very bad, but. How are things going with you?
Good. I'm ramping up for a busy day. I've got an 8-hour day ahead of me here in
Oh,
just a
wow.
couple hours. So
Wow.
all music though. It's good.
Nice, nice. Are you recording or what are you kinda working on?
I'm playing live. So I'm
Okay.
playing downtown on Broadway, Lower
Okay.
Broadway in Nashville. Yep.
Right. You're playing for 8 hours or just
8 hours. Yep,
wow.
pretty much
Okay.
straight through. I've got 2 shifts, so they're 2 4-hour shifts, so I play
Okay.
from 2 to 6 and then 6 to 10.
Wow. That's gonna be that's gonna be a challenge right there.
I'm looking
Oh,
forward to it. It's gonna be a fun day.
nice. Awesome. Oh, so for anybody that's just getting to meet you for the first time, we is it pronounced Myrna?
Yes, you got
Okay.
it.
Sweet. I knew my weird ability to get names right would pay off at some point. We got Merna the Barefoot Fiddler, based out of Nashville. For anybody that's just kind of getting to meet you for the first time, is what's kind of your background story? What got you into music?
Well, hello, everybody. And thanks for having me, by the way. This is so cool. Thanks for asking me to be on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd been following you on Instagram for a good minute, so it was like, okay, this is the
Aw,
opportunity. So,
thank you. Well, I am originally from Colorado. I moved to Texas, for a couple years to go to school. I have a degree in commercial music. And then I moved to Nashville, and I've been in Nashville since '03. And I play music for a living, sometimes 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, sometimes 9 days a week.
fair.
Uh, and my background is I started playing fiddle when I was 7, but it has been in my family for many generations. My
Nice.
grandmother played violin, went to Juilliard, did the whole classical thing. Um, Before that, I had a grandfather or a great grandfather that played fiddle. So music has been in my family for generations. And
Nice.
when I was a kid, I had a family band. My mom played guitar, my dad played the bass, my brother played mandolin, and then I had aunts and uncles that joined us in the band. I learned how to play from my Aunt Betty, who played fiddle, and kind of followed in her footsteps.
Nice.
And yeah, so here I am. I play
Right.
music for a living. It's pretty cool.
That's a good way to look. That's a good way to be, doing your passion for a living, you know?
That's right.
Uh, so I guess I have to ask, do you have like a family fiddle that kind of gets passed down generation by generation or
I wish I did.
okay.
My grandmother had a violin that was very valuable.
Mhm.
Um, but when my aunt, who taught me, when she passed away, um, it because there were 4 families involved, um, nobody really could decide what they wanted to do with
Mhm.
the instrument. So it actually got sold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It got sold to um, a child prodigy, and
Okay.
I have not been able to follow up and find out who that was or if they've continued playing. But the instrument is it's a unique instrument. They call it a petite full size. My
Mhm.
grandmother was 4 foot nothing, so she
Okay.
was super tiny, and so she basically played in between a full size and a 3/4 size instrument. And so one of my life goals is to find that instrument and get it back.
That's cool.
I have no idea how I'm gonna do it, but I can try. I have pictures of it, and I think I would recognize it just because of certain features.
Yeah.
It had some cracks and
Yeah.
the way it was made and stuff. So, I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. I wish I did, but I don't.
Yeah, I completely understood. I'm trying to. My dad has a big old K bass that he found when he was first starting to play music, and I'm trying to get him to give it to me, like because I want it, but
Yeah,
because I like the thing is I know I'm not going to have anybody fight me over it because my sister doesn't want it, and it's just me and her. And but
yeah.
my it's hard to pry it away from my dad because he thinks I'm going to destroy it or something, and it's like no, I'm going to
Mm.
restore that thing because it's from like 1920 and
Wow.
like
Wow.
you could tell it's from night like it's seen better days, but it,
Yeah.
I,
Well, keep on him.
yeah,
Maybe he's got a plan to give it to you, just isn't ready to let it go yet, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. That's 100% what it is. So,
Yeah.
um, but
I
yeah,
do
not.
have an instrument that I've had since I was, old enough to
Mm,
play a full size. So I do have an older instrument that I've had for years and years that I'm
mhm,
not planning on getting rid of. And it actually has signatures all over it. I used
nice,
it when I went to concerts and saw my heroes and
mhm,
stuff. I would ask them to sign my instrument. So I do have that.
nice. That's cool. That's really cool. Like that's something that means something to you and is
Exactly.
invaluable.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yep.
um, so what was it about the fiddle specifically that just kind of drew you to it?
I don't know. I think just being around it, my with my aunt playing
Mm,
with my mom and her husband and my dad and that family band since I was around it since I was little teeny tiny. um I don't know, I just was drawn to her. And I've heard stories, my mom has told me stories of they were sitting around, on Sunday afternoon after church, sitting around just kind of having a jam session, practicing or whatever for a show. And I would run up, her name was Betty. I would run up to my Aunt Betty and Aunt Betty, and she would put the fiddle under my chin and let me pull the bow across the strings real fast. And then I was happy. And I think just, when I was old enough to really, my parents thought that I was responsible enough to take lessons. They said, let's try it out and see. And I just took off. I don't know. I was never drawn to any other instrument. It was always the fiddle. I think it's just, kind of in my blood.
yeah, for sure. It's having when we first started live and amplified, we started really cutting our teeth in the bluegrass scene. We'd
Mhm.
go down every year. We'd go down to a bluegrass festival in the Florida Keys, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where I was introduced to like fiddle and stuff like that. And the art of playing fiddle is so amazing, and the subtle differences between one musician to the next is a very interesting thing for me to sit there and just watch and pay attention how they play their instrument because you can kind of tell, at least I can kind of tell when somebody like originally started on like violin and then moved to the fiddle because they're a little bit more um proper, I guess is the best way to
Yeah.
word it.
Yep.
And then you got some people that just went straight into fiddle and they're a little bit more loose with how they play. And
Yeah.
it's always kind of very interesting to watch. So
Yeah. It's kind of fun to tease. Well, sometimes it's fun to tease fiddle players and violinists because I always said if you tell a fiddle player that they're a violinist or that looks like they have classical training, it's a
mm,
compliment.
yeah,
But if you tell a violinist that it looks like they have fiddle or that they play fiddle, they actually are offended by it.
yeah, that's funny. That's yeah. Oh, but so what are you? So obviously you're playing a lot of shows. You're playing, would you say anywhere from 5 to 9 shows a week?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Are you do you like write your own music or where are you kind of at creatively with your music?
Um, I I have written a couple songs. I wrote a
Mhm,
couple songs in college just
mhm,
for a class
yeah,
and never really pursued that too much. My heart just wasn't in that.
yeah,
Um, but here lately, I I'm with four other ladies. We formed a new band and they all write. They've all got amazing songs. And so I've been inspired to kind of hone in on my writing skills a little bit, and they're helping me. So I'm not a writer yet, but
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Yeah.
Nice. And as you're kind of going through this education of writing and like approaches to writing, is there anybody like musically you're listening to for influences, or is it just kind of I just want to learn how to write and then we'll kind of figure out what it is from there?
That's a really good question. I don't really have an influence because I've never kind of studied it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't listen to somebody's song on the radio and know who wrote it, just
Yeah.
by their style, like some people can.
Mm.
Um, so I'm more kind of inspired by the girls that I'm in the band with
Mm.
and kind of their styles and their takes. I do get my inspiration just from different things in life.
Mm.
Sometimes it's, something I've gone through, just like anybody, something you go through, or something that a friend is going through, or, you know, some of the stuff that I have come up with in my head is just literally I'm sleeping in the middle of the night and this idea pops in my head and I have to get up and go to the bathroom and record it, into my phone or write down the lyrics, whatever it is. And it's funny because um my dad used to do that too. My dad wasn't, he played the bass just because we needed a bass player in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved it and he was good at it. So he was never a writer either. But he would do the same thing. He would get up in the middle of the night with this song idea in his head and he would have to write it down. So my dad passed away in 2015 and I kind of feel like now it's coming through me, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Because it's the same thing. I get up in the middle of the night and I have this song idea. So sometimes they're great. Sometimes I can't really make out because I'm
What?
sleepy and
Yeah.
yeah, I can't make out what it is, but hey, it was good at the time.
Hey, hey, at least you're cognizant enough to realize like, hey, you gotta record it, write it down, like whatever it is,
Yeah,
even if it's not legible
right.
in the morning, but at some point that may make sense, you know.
Yeah. And I think if you listen back to it enough, maybe it'll come back to you.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I
yeah,
100% agree. Um, so I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with me. It's been an absolute
absolutely.
blast. If anybody wants to check out your music, any shows, just kind of keep up with what you got going on in Nashville, where's the best place to find you online?
Well, I'm at the Barefoot Fiddler on Instagram, Facebook. I also have a website, www.thebarefootfiddler.com, and I try to keep up with my schedules. But if you're coming to town and you want to see where I'm at, just message me and ask me, "Hey, where are you playing? I'm coming to town," and I'll let you know. Sometimes I post my schedule, sometimes I forget.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And so I guess I have to ask, do you actually play the fiddle barefoot?
I do. Yep.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
No
Most of the
fault.
time.
No false advertisement here.
That's
As
right.
long as I'm assuming as long as it's not like negative degrees,
Exactly.
gotcha. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I have a few stipulations. So
yeah. When did that all kind of start, playing the fiddle barefoot?
when I was in college, I
Okay.
was in a band wearing these god awful high heel shoes and I kicked them off and I don't know, somebody came up to me with a cardboard sign that said, "You have pretty feet." And I just was like, okay,
Cool.
this could be my thing.
Nice. That's awesome. That's really cool. But yeah, once again, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Fight
Thank
Against
you.
Pancreatic Cancer. We are currently in hour 10 of our 24-hour podcast fundraiser
That's awesome.
marathon. We are getting there. We're almost
Thank
halfway through. So
That's very cool. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be a part of it.
yeah, absolutely. And then if there's ever anything that you want to come on and promote, feel free. I'd love to have you on a full length episode, kind of dive deeper in on a lot of this stuff. And you
Yeah.
know, this is kind of a nice little tester. So
Yeah, cool. And I'll
cool.
play a song next time. How about that?
That works for me. That's awesome. So all right. Well, once again, thank you so much. We're gonna play a little
Welcome.
musical roulette here and get ready to bring in the next act.
All right. Thank you.
Cool.
Have a great
Thank
day, y'all.